Hello, everyone. The crisis brought by Corona is the most serious event Italy has to confront and contain after 1945. However, these circumstances did not weaken the great spirit of our Italian associates. Today, we have the great pleasure of having His Excellency Alessandro Prunas, Ambassador of Italy to Qatar, to discuss not just the fight of Italy with Corona, but also how Qatar remains an important partner for Italy and its vital position in the strategy that will guide the country's full economic recovery. How are you, Your Excellency?
I'm well, thank you.
It's a pleasure having you here today in QTM Talks.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity.
Your Excellency, to start this interview, what's the current state of Italy in general and the state of its tourism?
Yes, well, Italy has been among the first countries hit by the coronavirus. It's also among the first to have overcome the emergency phase and eased travel restriction, as well as restarted commercial activities. So the Italian government has promptly adopted a full range of measures to ensure the balance, the very difficult balance, there's a really fine line there, between safeguarding health while gradually resuming the economic and social life. Reopening of activities in the cultural and tourist sector has been very carefully planned, also taking into consideration the summer season, which is obviously when Italy is attracting the vast majority of its tourists and visitors. So we have adopted health protocols, mandatory guidelines for hospitality establishments, for commercial activities and cultural venues. So hotel, bars, restaurants, shops, you name it, they all have to implement adequate safety measures, sanitation, social distancing. So really, to sum it up, there is maximum attention to prevention and safety for tourists. As you well know, the tourist and cultural sector, really as everywhere else across the world, were the most affected, one of the most affected areas, business areas by the pandemic. Yeah. COVID-19 is certainly a huge challenge, and it is especially for a tourist industry like the one we have in Italy, which employs 4.2 million people with an annual turnover of 232 billion euros. So that's why we really have to carefully plan for a restart of the season. COVID-19 brought about changes in our lifestyle and consequently in our ways of traveling. This we have to take into account. And this will continue for at least some time. Yes. But certainly will not stop us from exploring the world, from traveling, from connecting. So Italy has really an extraordinary offer of different destination solutions for tourists and visitors, including secluded places, holidays in the nature, and therefore we have really the potential to adapt to the new requirements and travelers' preference. Thank you.
Great news, Your Excellency. We can't wait actually for Italy to finally get back on its feet. We also want to know what are the current initiatives of Italy to recover from this pandemic?
Right. Well, we have chartered, the government has chartered a solid plan for the relaunch of economy and growth, adopting a large package of economic and fiscal measures. These include obviously the injection of around 200 billion euros into the economy and the Treasury's shield for banks from losses over 90% of loans to companies of all sizes. Okay. In addition to that, Cassa Depositi e Prestiti, which is Italy's state lender, and SACE, which is its export agency, will provide further guarantees for companies until the end of this year for an additional 200 billion euros. Recently, the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs have launched an export plan, which is a plan aiming at strengthening the support to the Made in Italy production, as well as to boost export activities. This is just to give you a wider picture, but in the specific context of the tourism sector, 5 billion euros have been allocated to fund a campaign by our National Tourism Board called Viaggio in Italia, promoting the Italian destination. Funds for acquisition and restoration of real estates for tourism and culture, funds to support travel agents and tour operators, tax credits for hospitality sectors, incentives for art cities, symphonic lyric foundation, entertainment, cultural institution, bookshops, film industry, etc. So I think quite a solid package.
Yeah, actually, it's excellent measures in place. Your Excellency, therefore, can you please tell us more about what's the role of the Italian embassy in Doha to aid such initiatives?
Well, as an embassy, of course, first of all, we have the responsibility of disseminating reliable information about the current situation in Italy. And we've been doing that since the very early stages of the pandemic, as the government has always done. We take great pride in saying that the Italian government has always been extremely transparent on the situation. And I think we will continue doing that because it is our duty and our responsibility. Talking specifically about the tourist sector, in view obviously of resuming Schengen visa operation, we are working very closely with our visa service provider in Qatar, which is VFS Global. We want to ensure a smooth restart of operations as well as provide new services for future applicants. This will obviously take into account, first of all, the new health regulations and social distancing protocols. We will make full use of available technologies to facilitate submission of applications, reducing whenever possible physical presence at the application center. We also plan to strengthen remote guidance for applicants and further use of mobile visa service to allow applicants to submit their fingerprints comfortably at home. In addition to that, we are also discussing with the Italian National Tourism Board new initiatives in order to increase business contacts between Italian and Qatari tourist operators, specifically to promote a better knowledge of the full potential of the Italian tourism offer. And let's say, opening up new unique itineraries given the current situation. The embassy has continually promoted throughout this pandemic period the Italian culture on its social networks. Obviously, we had to do that because public spaces and institutions were closed. And so we decided to dedicate special attention on our social channels in creating and posting campaigns to promote art, music, cuisine, cinema, and online cultural initiatives. We've just finished now a week of Italian film festival that was completely online. So people from all around the world could just connect and watch movies and workshops and all sort of activities related to the film festival. I think it's a nice way to entertain people, given the challenges that these times we're facing with, and that we will continue doing.
And at the same time delivering a message, let's say, about the culture, the Italian culture and the Italian tourism as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think to this end that Qatar Travel Mart exhibition and all the side events that you are planning in November this year will be a very important milestone to launch some new projects and also a period where we will looking at increasing our initiatives, cultural initiatives.
Exactly. Your Excellency, we know that Qatar and Italy has really strong bilateral relation. Can you also tell us more about Italy's research collaboration with Qatar Foundation for COVID-19?
Absolutely. We just organized yesterday from the Al Udeid base a military plane, an Italian military Air Force plane, that transported some plasma from people recovered that had recovered from COVID. This plasma was coming from the Hamad Medical Corporation, and this was to support the transportation of this plasma to Italy, where the plasma will be analyzed first from in the Università Cattolica del Sacro Cuore, which is a university based in Italy that will examine these samples, and then these samples will be further examined by the Mater Olbia Qatar Foundation-owned hospital in Sardinia. So this is just to highlight that this cooperation that started during the pandemic, yes, and that the embassy have strongly supported, is just one of the many scientific activities that we hope will be developing between Italy and Qatar. It's been a pleasure working with all these institutions, these Qatari institutions, as well as Italian institutions, of course. And I think that we have to be very ambitious in looking at growing these connections. We have the capacity. Qatar has the capacity as well. And I think it is very important not to neglect the research sector as much as the cultural sector. I think Qatar and Italy have a lot to share in these sectors. So it's not just about trade, about developing common positions in the vast international political area, but it's also about connecting people to people and growing a better understanding of our countries. I think it's my duty to promote this, and I'm very happy that in Qatar there are so many institutions that are responding positively.
Exactly. Your Excellency, we can see that Italy is getting successful in its fight against COVID-19. Therefore, what would be your message to our audience all over the world who are sympathetic to Italy during this crisis?
Well, the word sympathy and affection for Italy and Italian people have been absolutely overwhelming. In Qatar and across the world, we have witnessed so many gestures of really sincere friendship, yes, which proved us that Italian hospitality and beauty are truly at the heart and dreams of people. So to all the friends of Italy, I would just like to say that we really look forward to having you back in Italy, and we would like to thank you with an authentic Italian travel experience. So really thank you wholeheartedly.
Your Excellency, as final thought, what value do you see in having an exhibition like Qatar Travel Mart at this point of time? We know we're collaborating with the embassy and Your Excellency towards organizing an Italian pavilion at our exhibition. Can you share your insights about the value of Qatar Travel Mart?
Well, as I was saying earlier, tourism industry in Italy has a turnaround of about 230 billion euros. So it is a very important industry in the country, accounting for approximately 10% of our GDP. So it is being such an important industry for us. Qatar Travel Mart is clearly a privileged partner. And I think it is very timely to have this exhibition now, because really after these horrible months that we've all experienced, the lockdown, of contraction of travels, of activities in general, I think we really have to seize any opportunity, including Travel Mart, to actually rebrand and relaunch Italy as a tourism destination. So to this end, really, I really have to thank you, because I think that it is really timely and it is very important.
Thank you for your
support. So we'll do our best to have the nicest pavilion.
We hope that. We hope that. Your Excellency, our sincere gratitude for sharing your valuable insight with us today. And we wish for the total healing of Italy and the Italian people. And we wish to meet you soon.
In person, hopefully, inshallah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
To all our followers, thank you for watching another episode of QTM Talks. Hope you enjoyed today's conversation and stay tuned for the next edition. See you soon.